Hello everyone, it's Short Round back with another video for you. This time it is the Hot Toys Thor Ragnarok Hulk, or the Gladiator Hulk from the Thor Ragnarok movie, whichever way you want to say it. He's MMS 430. As you can see, this box is absolutely massive, so I am struggling to get all of it in frame. So if I just pan out of it very briefly, just use the shaky hands, it's absolutely huge. It's a good kind of 18 inches tall, this box, and the shipper and everything that it came in was about 2 foot tall. It was enormous. Just popping that back on there so we can have a look at the artwork. So if you remember the Thor artwork, it was a bit of a kind of artworky drawing, painting of Thor with some cool writing on it, in kind of chromed letters and a little bit of graffiti here and there. And as you can see, that motif and that design carries across much the same on this as it did on the Gladiator Thor figure. Got the nice artwork of the Hulk. To be honest, I don't like it as much as I like the Thor one, simply because it doesn't look enough like the interpretation from the film. I think somebody's just drawn a Hulk in Gladiator armour. The face doesn't look spot on. But it's nice enough. It's a good artist rendition of it, at least. Again, the foil with the crossed weapons is really cool, much as the same as what Thor got with his little swords and things, and then the actual foiled letters themselves is really nice. You've got all the branding, you've got all the Sicarian war paint and everything that's echoed, very similar again to what is on the Thor box. Moving it around, and again, I'm really sorry for how big this is. It's quite bulky. I've took the shell outside just so it's easier to move around. But again, you've got some of this graffiti work, lots of neon greens and various different gradients shaded here and there, and the kind of Hulk logo that they've made is on the side of the box. Moving on to the back, and you've got your creators, your credits, which are normally on the inside of the actual clam tray itself. They're just written on the back of the box, along with all the usual secret base icons, your barcodes, your Hot Toys and everything else on there. And you've got your writing at the top, which this time it isn't foil, it's just kind of glossed over. And then moving back around to the other side, again, you've got that kind of same motif there, and just your usual, your runes and your Sicarian writing and your gradient different colours of green. And you get a bit of it kind of moving around the box as well, and as you open up the top of it, just to come in there, you've got a glossy kind of fist, and that's where your figure will be sitting inside in his massive styrofoam coffin. I'm just going to move this out of the way now, and we'll bring that styrofoam tray up here. Again, I've taken everything out of it, but this is just how big this figure is. He's huge. He fills it from top to bottom. And then you've got all his accessories all the way around him. And it's actually quite good to say you've got a lot of accessories with this guy compared to like the previous Hulks. And there's some nice kind of ways that they've just layered things on top of each other just to keep it all inside that shape. Because again, the majority of this package is just the Hulk figure that fills the entire dimension of it. What we'll do now is we'll get him out here and we'll have a look at him and his accessories back in a minute. So here he is out of the box. This is basically how you get him out of his clam tray. I've got all the accessories off to one side because I'm going to do those afterwards, much like I did with the T'Chaka Panther, because I think it's probably easier to put it into some context than the actual figure itself before we start looking at accessories. You take him out, he's covered in all these polythene bags and all these little bits of foam that protect him, and this is how he comes. He's got his balled up fists as per usual, the usual score with the Hot Toys figures, and then the spare hands are inside the box. I'm just going to lift him up again so you can take in the scope of the figure, and he is absolutely enormous. Really impressed with it. He is basically the same body as the previous Hulk figures we've got. So if you've seen a Hulk figure, you know roughly kind of what to expect size-wise and also articulation-wise. However, when we do get into looking at the articulation, there are some little bits of kind of the armour and things that do impede the articulation a little bit more than previously. So just be something to be aware of. This is the new head sculpt that he comes with the kind of grimacing face on it. If I just want to zoom into there and have a look. I have to apologise for a lot of the wavy camera going on because I'm having to freehand it. rather than have it on a tripod. But he's really nice. The detail in the skin, the teeth, the eyes is what we've come to expect from Hot Toys. It's absolutely fantastic. The skin itself isn't as rubbery as I thought it would be. It's a lot more plasticky, but you know, great nonetheless. He has got a little bit of flex in it, especially with that skeleton that runs underneath it. So you know, when you come to moving the neck or what have you, he's got a flex in it. Looking at the arms and things like that, they are big, kind of heavy joints. I'll just pop the tripod down while I show you those. So we just come around here. He's got a tight joint moving the arm up and down, and then a ratchet that actually lifts it up. We'll apply there. He's got ratcheted elbows as well, which again, just be careful of this around here. You don't want nothing to catch in that, and you don't want to leave it there over time. If you've got any kind of flesh, kind of toned figures or anything with like a rubbery texture, again, it's just something to be aware of. He's got ball jointed wrists. They are a little bit impeded just by the armour that's on the wrist guards there. On this side, as you can see, it's quite heavily armoured, so he doesn't get that full flex open there. But you can actually, this is on a magnet, this piece. It's got a little bar that fits into the top of his shoulder, and then a massive magnet there, which is really strong. You can't really leave it off because it does leave this big kind of black plastic piece garishly showing, but it lets you move this arm into position and kind of do what you want with it, and then you can put that back on there, and it doesn't have to fit in the slot because the magnet holds it on there satisfactorily, which is quite nice. It gives you a bit of motion out of this arm, which, to be fair, I didn't actually expect. Just pop that back down and that back on there. Again, the arm does kind of crunch, but the armour here just prevents it slightly. It is loosely fitted though, it's like Thor's, so it does have flex in it. And the fist again is on a ball joint. This one came quite tight, but it does rotate and swivel nonetheless. It just doesn't really kind of bend inwards like some arm joints do at the wrist, just because his arms are so massive. Moving down, he has apparently, according to his instructions, got some waist swivel and some articulation in his stomachs, but it's about as far as I've got with it, to be fair, and I'm happy enough with that. The legs, if you've got the Hulk, you know what the legs and what to expect from them, except the swivel here and that joint there is fine. It's the same as before, but you're not really going to get any more than that out of it, just because of the way that the tabard and everything, and it's the same at the back as well. This kind of armoured waist piece, throw that about, this armoured waist piece does prevent a lot from kind of sitting, anything like that. And he's got ratcheted legs at the knee, and he's got ball jointed feet, which are quite good. He's really flat footed with those big sandals on him that he's got there. They're really tough, and obviously it's a flat surface to stand him on, so he's quite well balanced. I can see you can get in a bit more of a dynamic pose, kind of striding forwards or something similar to that. That's basically it with the actual figure and the articulation itself. If you want to, I'll just quickly spin him around so we can have a look at the back, and I'll just bring the camera in. We can have a look at some of the detail as well. He's got that war paint that extends down his chest. All these straps are plastic, they're not fabric, and this is almost kind of like a rubbery plastic as well, which is, again, it's quite tough to bend the legs back or anything like that. He has got fabric trousers actually in his crotch underneath this, which gives him that flexibility. There's nice detail on the sandals as well. Those straps and buckles are really nicely detailed and painted. Just bring him back around. Keep popping the old shoulder joint off there because I've not pressed it down strong enough. But that's basically it. Again, just having a look at that face again, and the detail there is absolutely awesome. Really, really cool. That chromed war paint that paints down him, it's really good. Again, some nice buckling detail and some nice silver over the arm as well. Yeah, really, really impressed with that. And what I'll quickly do now is I'll just move Hulk out of the way, and we'll get his accessories out and have a nosy at them, and then after that we'll kind of fit some of them onto him and strike a pose and have some final thoughts. Back in a minute. So here's his accessories out of the box, and to be fair, compared to like previous Hulk figures, he's actually got a lot more. I think that having two head sculpts really increases the value of this guy just at a glance. You do get your kind of standard issue instructions. There's not really much in terms of anything important to go over in here. It just, the main bit is just being careful of when to know and when to extend certain bits of him. You know, his joints and things, and where to be careful of how far you can extend them, and just certain little features like putting the weapons in the right hands, not like you can put them in any other. And the bendy fingers mechanic that's on there, and then you've got the you know, how to change your head carefully, how to do the, I think it's VATS, the old thing what you used to do where you kind of have the little pegs behind the eyes. He's got those. You know, just how to assemble his Gladiator helmet as well, and again that shoulder pad that we did before, what I kept throwing at you. That's about it really, not really too much, but you know, as usual, just read your instructions, is what I'd advise. So here's the bits and pieces he comes with. He's got his pair of hands that have balled up into fists that he comes with and on the figure, but then he's also got a pair of hands which are kind of gripping hands designed to fit a weapon through. I would be very, very cautious just on sliding these weapons in there, because I've just literally tried to do it and I've scratched it ever so slightly inside in his palm there. It's going to be a little bit of paintwork that I'm going to have to put on it. Not that you can really see it, but it's a little bit of damage that I'm a little bit disappointed in myself with for doing. And it's literally because I could have really steamed the palms open a bit with a bit of a hot steam and just loosened them so I could get the weapons in, because they're really, really tight. Didn't expect it to be that tight to squeeze them in. This one's slightly different because his armour is kind of got a blue wrap on the left hand, so that's echoed across that. And then you've also got the open hands, which if you've previously had a Hulk figure, this is what you would have got, basically minus the armour, where they've got the little wire joints that run through them and you can just pose the fingers, which are quite cool. You don't really get much beyond that as his finger joint, so it's not terrible, but you know, it gives you the option, I suppose. Rather than having a splayed open hand, you can kind of pose them however you want. But you get one of each for left and right for that, and again the armour matches whichever side it's on. He does get this, which is designed to fit on the back of the head that comes on it. The hairpiece pops off, this piece goes on, and it just basically gives him like a bowl cut, which is quite funny to see, but it's designed to fit your helmet on. And the helmet comes in 3 pieces inside the box, and these 2 side pieces pop in, they just clip on the inside. There is a magnet inside the helmet as well. The helmet is really nice, the horsehair is cool. It does tend to stick out as soon as you get it out of the box, but I imagine over time it's just going to weigh itself down and actually fit and be more dynamic. Naturally, Hot Toys, whenever they put things with hair inside the box, the hair never behaves because it's been inside a packaging shipper for, you know, a couple of weeks maybe, and straight off the production line it's got in and it's been like wanged in at a certain angle or something, and it just needs to kind of air itself out and get itself you know, into a natural pose or what have you. You do get another head. Now this is the head that came with the Age of Ultron Hulk, I believe. This is the one that a lot of people don't like. I'm not crazy for it, to be honest, especially with the old style hair as well, so you can't change it, which is a bit disappointing too. It's got the old kind of Ruffalo Hulk hair rather than the crew cut what he has in Ragnarok. So this is going to stay in the box for me. The highlight of it is that you can pop this off, and he's got his little VATS things behind his eyes, which you can use to pose his eyes and make his eyeballs move, which is cool. And it's actually, this piece is I think it's designed for this. Yes, sorry, it's not designed for the other head, it's designed for this one. And this pops on here, and that gives him the creepy bowl cut, which is quite scary. It looks like a Hulk's, you know, 60-year-old dad having a paddy. It doesn't really look very Hulky, but it does mean that you can pop the head in there on this configuration if you'd rather. It's not for me. I'm not keen on it. I'd much rather, I think it's probably better off to take the side panels off if I do it, but yeah, it's a look, but I'm not bothered about it. I don't like that face. So just popping that to one side, and the helmet. And lastly, the thing that's just been staring you in the face are these massive weapons. Now, they're huge. You're talking a few inches, maybe, I'd say 10 inches long, just massive. They are apparently capable of being fitted into the Gladiator Hulk's hands, so you can have him holding this one, you can have him hefting this hammer when he swings it around and cracks the Hulk in the face with it. But it's really cool. The metal details on it are really good. The chipping, the scuffs, and just kind of that kind of oiled airbrush, kind of bit of dark, bit of light on there, just makes it look like a big piece of industrial steel. And the same for the axe as well. The axe is kind of brushed as well, so it's some bits are shiny, some bits are darker and kind of more gunmetal. The handles are all perforated with these grips, which again makes it really difficult to put into the actual gripping hands. So again, it's going to be a steam job, I think, to loosen these up, so I can actually hold the weapons, which is again is a little bit disappointing. It would have been nice to have him kind of maybe just have ball joints or something in the fingers, just so you can open and close it. But you know, really cool. I love all the accessories you get with him. It's going to be really interesting to have him side by side with the Thor figure. And what I'll do now is I'll pop some of these accessories on the Hulk, and then we'll get Thor out and we'll kind of have a side by side and some final thoughts. Back in a moment. So we're back, and now we've got some accessories changed over on the Hulk, and we've got Thor here for some side by side as well. So I'll just have a bit of freehand again while we have a look at the Hulk with the Centurion helmet on. And again, just that helmet is really cool. I like it on that head sculpt better than I do the Age of Ultron one, just because that head is designed and sculpted specifically for this Hulk. I've swapped out his hand to give him the axe. Again, it's just took a little bit of kind of heating up to loosen the grip on it, but I think it is going to rub some paint off on the inside of the getting that axe in and out, just because of these perforations here. So just something to be careful of going forward. Just, you know, when you've got it in there, probably leave it in there. And I've swapped out his other hand with his posable fingers too. Other than that, I've not really done much else. Kind of spread his arms a bit wider. I didn't want to have him having his arms bent or anything, just because I'm probably going to leave him in a pose similar to this going forward, and I didn't want any of the seams or anything sticking. Side by side with the Hulk and the Thor there. Bear in mind that Thor's got a few centimetres worth of base, and he absolutely towers over that Thor figure. I knew they were big, the Hulk was big by comparison rather, but yeah, just when you see them side by side, you really do take in the scale of how massive the big green guy is. And you know, the Chris Hemsworth Thor figure isn't particularly short. He's quite tall compared to a few of the characters I've got, and so just seeing this guy is an absolute monster. So he's really cool. I've got this cabinet here, which is going to get Boba Fett's going to get rehomed, and I'm going to put a backdrop in there, and I'm going to have it all at the Sicarian arena for these two just to be stood opposite each other. So stay tuned for that. I'm probably going to do a little tutorial or a kind of step-by-step video of how I'll light that cabinet and fit it all and kit it out. So that's something to look out for. Again, as for the video for the KO Hulk that's just sat over the shoulder of Thor there, it is recorded. I've just been really super lazy, and I've not actually put it out there. It is filmed, it's just I've not finished uploading it. So you know, I've not forgotten about it. I've had a few people mention it to me recently, but it's in the pipeline. It's just, to be honest, I've got sidetracked with a few things, and I will get around to it, I promise. This guy is absolutely incredible though. It blows the KO out of the water. You know, it is all the quality there from your Hot Toys figures that you do pay a lot of money for. However, in terms of this guy, just how big he is, the amount of accessories you get with him, you know, he's easily worth, you know, the extra, you know, $100 or so compared to a regular Hot Toys figure. And I think it's something that Hot Toys probably need to consider going forwards, where they're starting to charge close to kind of £250, $300-ish for a standard figure like Thor, with, you know, $50 to $100 extra, you can get this guy. And he's massive. He's not just a standard body. He's got all his own kind of custom made gear and custom made accessories that are only going to work with the Hulk. And so I think cost effective wise, I think things like this are probably going to be, you know, more justifiable going forwards. It's not to dissuade, you know, from buying them, because I'll continue to keep buying other Hot Toys figures. But for me, and it's going to be the same for Thanos. When I got this guy out of the box, I was like, wow. And the first thing I thought was, Thanos is nearly as big as this dude. So I can't wait to see the Infinity War Thanos. He's another one of the much anticipated figures that I've got waiting on. But that's the Hulk figure. I'm pretty sure that he's on his way to a lot of people now. If you've ordered it from Hong Kong, we did have a little bit of a shipping delay while the kind of head honchos at Hot Toys were at San Diego, and then they were at Hong Kong Toy Fair, and you know they got a little bit behind on that. However, logistically speaking, I think the warehouse has kept cranking stuff out, which meant that this guy for me was supposed to be like the week 4 batch. I think the week 2, 3 and 4 all got shipped out on the same day because the factories kept churning them out. It's just there was nobody at the actual admin end to actually distribute them. And now that's looks like it's got to go. So let me know what you guys think. If it's something that you're interested in. I know a lot of people I've spoke to aren't bothered about this guy because you can't take the armour off and have a regular vanilla Hulk. However, for me, I prefer this guy because he's a bit more iconic. And again, I've got the Gladiator Thor, which I really liked. And to be fair, I never actually pre-ordered this guy. I'd ordered the Hulk, but I never ordered Thor. But side by side, I'm glad I have. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Drop me a comment, and obviously going forward, if you are still interested in watching the video for the custom on the KO Hulk that I've got, give me a subscribe and hit that bell icon, and it'll remind you when the videos keep coming through. I will make that a priority to do in the next couple of days, so keep an eye out for it. Until then, I'll see you next time. Bye.